Ezokwambala glasses nali nze bbanga dda nnyo era nali ndowooza nkyali muto. Era ndowooza natandika kwambala glasses mu P5, around P5. Era nga kyava ku mbeera nti nali oluusi nga amaaso gaali gannuma naddala mu budde obw'empewo, oluusi nga n'okutunula nga bwenyingira mu kifo nga mulimu light nnyingi nga nkaluubirizibwa okutunula oba okulaba obulungi nga kinviirako n'oluusi okulumizibwa omutwe. So kyaviirako nti n'oluusi we nagendanga okusoma naddala bwe twatuuka mu ezo classes P6, P5, P7 nga weetaaga nnyo okubeera ng'osoma. So bwe nabeeranga nnyo mu kusoma oba okulaba TV ennyo ng'amaaso gakola ki, gabeera gannuma. Kati natuuka obudde nga tisobola na kubeera nnyo mu bitabo nga nsobola kurevisinga. So kyaviirako ne nsobola okukola ki, okufuna glasses. Naye ndowooza nalinga mu myaka nga natandika mu myaka nga 12 awo. Kyenzijukira mu kusooka akyankaluubizibwamuko olw'okuba nti nali sizimanyidde era natuukanga n'obudde ng'oluusi ng'olumu nzeerabira. Era mu egyo emyaka egyasooka ng'okusuula glasses kyabeeranga nga si kyakwewuunya kubanga oluusi wazambala nga oluusi n'owulira oluusi nga zikusiiwa naddala eno mu matu. Ekyokubiri otuuka nga n'abantu bennyini nga era ebintu boogera nga buli omu akutunuulira naddala nga ku ssomero n'obwoddanga ewaka nga buli omu akulaba ng'akyuse ennyo. So n'ekirala nti okubanga obadde tomanyidde kwambala birawuli oba glasses ate n'omala n'oziteekamu owulira ng'oluusi toli comfortable. Naye olw'okuba nti obudde obusinga bw'obeera omwana omuto kyanguwa okukola ki, kyanguwa okugenda n'otakifaako nnyo. Ekisooka ndezo kyendowooza nti n'okuva edda okufuna glasses kyabeeranga kya bbeeyi nnyo ate n'ebifo nga byabeeranga bitini ng'abantu abamu tebamanyi. Naye kyemmanyi abantu abamu baali balubizibwa amaaso. Ekisooka n'ekirala nti bw'otunuulira nnyo ennaku zino tubeera nnyo ku masimu, eyo blue light ey'amasimu. Njogedde nti nze TV yali entawaanya nnyo. So kireetedde abantu abasinga okulwala ki, amaaso. Ate balwadde amaaso nti ne points eziriwo ba opticians bangi ne outlets eziservinga glasses nnyingi. So kiyambyeko nti abantu abasinga bafunye okuba nga basobola okwaccessinga glasses nti wabanga bakola ki, balumizibwa amaaso. Yadde n'abamu bambala glasses nga kyemmanyi waliwo abambala glasses nga tamanyi just gulinga mulembe. Oluusi ne bambala glasses nga zandibadde ezambalibwa abantu abalwadde n'oli n'osanga ng'akoze eki, azambadde. Ne kibaviirako nabo okufuna obuzibu ndowooza mu maaso era ne bakomekereza nga nabo bazze mu kano ke tuyita ka kiraabu akambala glasses. Obudde obusinga kati nze okwambala glasses maze ebbanga nga nyambala glasses era nti waliwo be natandika nabo nga tebasobola kuggyako. Lwaki nti zino glasses zituusa obudde ne zidepreciating oba ne zibanga ezikaddiwa. Ate olw'oyambala glasses nga zidepreciating kitegeeza ziba zoonoonera ddala amaaso. So obudde obusinga ng'ezange nazikyusanga every after 12 months. Naye kinnyambako ennaku zino nti nze nsobola okuggyako glasses naddala nga ndi mu kifo nga light si nnyingi nsobola okuggyako, oba nga ndi mu kifo nga empewo si nnyingi nsobola okuggyako. Naye we mba ngenda osoma oba okubeera nga ku TV oba okulaba nga TV okubeera nga ku any screen zirina okubeerako. Era ekinene nnyo kyensobola obeera ku screen nga sitaddeeko ebeera nga ssaawa emu. Bw'esukkamu mba ngenda atandika okulumizibwa amaaso era gasobola okutandika okuleeta amaziga ku budde obusinga kuba mba nkaluzibwa okufokasinga. Ekyokubiri ogenda okuwulira nga gatandisa okukuluma, gabeera nga agalimu omusenyu. Ekiviirako nti oluusi n'okulumizibwa omutwe. Era bwe ŋŋenda ng'okusoma oba okukola ki nga sirina glasses mba ngenda kutandika okufuna eyo tension headache, omutwe gutandika okunnuma naddala nga gulumira wano mu maaso. So kyekisobola okubeerawo. Yes.
Once again, you are welcome to NTV Medical Matters. We are supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I am Viola Xasia and we are really happy to have you. Today we are going to be talking about eye health and what more you need to know about your eyes. We have Dr. Lillian Awubwa from Mengo Hospital in the eye department. Dr. Lillian, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's start off with what do healthy eyes look like?
I'm Lillian, working with Mengo Hospital Eye Department. I'm a clinician there, and we are so privileged to have us discuss about eye health as per se. A normal eye. A normal eye comes all the way from how it looks and also how an individual feels in their body. So you, for example, why I've said that how it looks, the eyes you might see, and then you see there's something not right. Or you might look at them and then you see everything looks right. But why I've said it ranges from what you see to what an individual feels is because there are people that might not be seeing, for example, well, but you can't see that someone doesn't see well except when it's so, like the vision is so lost. The other example is that sometimes you may think I'm well, but when you're not well until you have had an eye checkup. So I would give a small example is about the eye pressure disease. For eye pressure disease, it's called glaucoma, but in most cases it doesn't have signs, it doesn't have symptoms, and some people have come for eye checkup because they have had a foreign body falling into their eye. And then we have ended up looking after removing of the foreign body. And sometimes it might be vision, but the patient comes because they have had glasses. They're like, I want to change my glasses. They think it's glasses when there's something else which has set in. So a normal eye really will range from what you see physically, it will go to what someone feels, and it will also go to what an eye examiner has found there. So we can't say that you just look and say this eye is normal. I believe if an eye is normal, you should be told it's normal because you've fully checked your eyes. And you're aware that everything is okay. So
checkup is key. So why is eye care so important, and what do we often overlook when it comes to taking care of our eyes?
There are a variety of things that we overlook in regards to taking care of our eyes. For example, when it comes to seeing, there are people that see, but they think everyone sees like them. It's normal vision. And it has been so surprising that sometimes, just as I mentioned before, they have come for another eye concern, and then you're doing the vision test to see how much each eye sees. And you might find one eye is seeing, the other is not seeing. So when really when it comes to that, it's very important to just have a conclusive good eye checkup. It all runs to that, really.
So what are some of the symptoms or indicators that someone might be developing an eye problem?
There's a variety of signs which range according to the problem the person has. For example, the commonest range from not being able to see well, not being able to see well by some of the individuals, to discomfort in the eyes, whether it's pain, whether it's itching. Some of them may range to headaches, for example, for those that are having eye strains. And some might be the physical. For example, for babies, if it's a newborn, the parents can be able to see, especially if they have had children before, there are things you see in the baby's eyes and know there's something which is not right. So it runs from the discomfort in the eyes, the headaches, the not being able to see well, redness. You can get some people having discharge coming out of the eyes, and that can give you a signal that there is something not right with our eyes. So it has a variety of symptoms that you can be able, and signs that you can be able to appreciate that there is something not right.
Okay.
Leaving alone the routine checks, there are people that have come for routine checks. For example, in the eye pressure disease, whereby someone was, one of the parents was diagnosed with eye pressure disease, which is glaucoma, and they have been sensitized that it has a genetic relationship. So some of them are normal, they don't have any signs and symptoms which prompts them to come for the eye checkup, but because they have become knowledgeable, they come as a routine to do an eye checkup to see how they are doing without necessarily having any symptoms really.
Speaking of checkup, how often should an individual go for an eye checkup?
Any individual should go for at least an eye checkup every 6 months.
Okay.
That comes to twice a year or once a year. That is if you don't have any eye-related concern. It should be minimally once a year, at least the ideal, even when you don't have any symptoms that is worrying you, that maybe my eyes have a problem, a routine one.
Okay. So cataracts and trachoma, they've been cited out to be the most common, and they account for the highest number of people that are blind or struggling with eye problems. So could you please expound more on these diseases, and also let us know what more diseases are there and what we do know about them? Worldwide,
truth is, cataracts are the leading cause of blindness, and followed by uncorrected refractive errors, or that is focusing issues with vision that require glasses which are not corrected. But also, though you've talked about trachoma, there are nationwide interventions that have been ongoing for trachoma interventions and prevention, which have been ongoing for over a good number of years, and they are doing well, doing both the prophylaxis, which means literally prevention, therapy in areas that are really with the disease. But currently, today, even we are seeing that it has gone down. The only thing that mainly is happening is that most of the interventions are dealing with the outcome of the trachoma, whereby there is scarring of the lids with eyelashes pointing inwards, scratching the eyes and causing corneal wounds and abrasions. So there are interventions that are ongoing, not only in Karamoja and Busoga, though those were the areas which were spearheading, but there are other areas where trachoma was also, and those interventions are all about trying to deal with the outcome of trachoma, and they are still ongoing even up to today. They are under the government interventions, which are well sponsored and they are doing well. But the third leading cause of blindness, which is it's glaucoma, but when glaucoma is eye pressure disease, but when you look at irreversible blindness, it's glaucoma as the leading cause. Because for cataract, when you have cataract surgery, you can be able to see again. For refractive errors, you can be able to see again if corrected early and you're given the glasses. Now, for diseases like glaucoma in the whole world, it's the leading cause of blindness once it's not caught up early, because the damage it causes is permanent. So there are other diseases. The glaucoma, just as I've said, there are eye infections. I've talked about the refractive errors, which is the second leading cause of blindness, and if uncorrected. So it ranges from as simple as allergies, where people are reacting to something in the environment, to eye infections, to cataracts, to uncorrected refractive errors, to glaucoma, to diseases like trachoma, where we see trichiasis, or the inward pricking of those eyelashes because of the healing process, the scarring on the lids. So it's really, there are very many out there. But when we are dealing with our patients, though we know the most common, there are those that might be not very common. But it still goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning. It all comes with a proper eye check. For you to be able to know this is what I have and this is what can be done, because definitely with a proper eye check, you're having an eye health worker who is knowledgeable enough to give you more knowledge about what is happening to you and what can be done about it.
Okay, so I just want to highlight the fact that the only way to find out is to go for a checkup, which has been said 6 months to once a year. Is that correct? Okay, so I think that would be our takeaway. And please, dear viewers, welcome if you're just joining us, but also remember we shall open our phone lines and you'll be able to call in and ask the doctor about your eyes. So, Doctor, moving on, a lot of us through school and even adult life complain about red eyes and itchy eyes just randomly, even if it's not a disease. So what's really happening in that time?
It's so interesting for us who work in the eye section because for us, red eyes, it's a sign.
What?
It's a sign. It's a sign that something is not right with your eyes. I would give an example. It's like if someone comes and tells you, I have a high temperature. It's a sign. The temperature is high, it's a sign. But a high temperature can signify very many illnesses. Very many infections. Malaria can present with a high temperature, typhoid can present with a high temperature, any other infection in the system can present with a high temperature. So for us it's interesting because it's just a one-off sign, and for you to know what exactly is wrong, you can't use in the medical field one symptom to diagnose a disease. You have to have backup that this is a red eye, maybe because of injury, this is a red eye because of an infection, this is a red eye because of an allergy, and that is why about this talk about eye care, you will hear a lot of things that are related to you need a checkup. Because we have sometimes scenarios where people give you a call because they have known you from a friend or someone, and they're like, you work in Mengo and we know you treat very well eyes in Mengo Hospital. And they call you and they're like, my son has a red eye. What can I give them? So it's very interesting because you can't just use the red eye to diagnose and treat. I mean, I may think it's an allergy when it's an infection. And we know that some of the medicines we use for allergies, you can't use them when there is an infection process because it will just escalate and make things worse. So a red eye is just a symptom to show that I'm not comfortable. The eye is just trying to talk to you and to the people around you who can see you that we are not comfortable. But there are very many other things which can cause a red eye. It can be an allergy of the eyes where someone's eyes are reacting to something in the environment. It can be dust, it can be smoke, it can be pollen. And also another thing which can cause a red eye is eye infections. Eye infections where maybe someone has touched their eyes with unclean hands and they have transferred germs. Maybe you've been handling money and everyone touches the money, and then you also end up, touching it, and somehow the eye is itchy and you just get your hands which are not washed, and then you touch your eyes, you transfer the infection into the eyes. So your body has its soldiers. Once they detect you are not comfortable, they have to send the fighters, which fighters are brought in by your blood. So when there is increased blood flow to the place to bring the fighters to deal with whatever they have seen as it's not comfortable, then it becomes red. And also there are other things which we call inflammations in the eye or reactions within your eye, which can give you a red eye. So a red eye is just a sign to show that our eyes are really not comfortable with something, either within the eye itself or around it. But bottom line is, you have a red eye, you need to go for a checkup and find out what is happening to me really. So that is what a red eye is all about. But it's a sign which can show a lot of things that are happening which are not comfortable with your eyes.
Is there a case where an injured eye can heal?
Yes, it can, depending on, it can heal, but how much it will see depends on how much injury it got or how much damage it got. Let me give an example. Our eyes, people can get injury, for example, a knock injury by maybe an elbow when they are playing football. And someone gets a red eye, it's painful, it's fearing light, and they have the history that the injury has come because of the eye is red and painful because of an injury. Now, those injuries, for example, it might be an elbow injury, like a knock with this, and some of them might come when they have just got inside reaction, what we call inflammation. And you treat it, and the patient gets well. There's those who can get an elbow knock injury, and they end up getting the pressure of the eyes going high, and if they have not come in early, yes, you treat the eye, it heals, but when there is pressure damage on the nerve. So injuries, how they can be, how they can end up, whether the eye has gross damage or mild damage, depends on how much the injury was. Another example is, for example, if you get someone has, for example, a glass injury, fragments of glass from maybe a broken windscreen, they are driving, it goes for the eye and cuts it. Some people may end up with a small abrasion on the cornea, another it may cut so badly that the whole globe is literally ruptured and the contents inside are really outside. And in such scenarios, sometimes it's hard to save that eye when every content it's outside. Actually, in most cases, we call it evisceration. You're removing the little content which has remained inside. So an injured eye can be fixed. How much you save in terms of vision and with the retention of the eye strongly will depend on the extent of the injury.
Can too much screen time damage our eyes, or is it a myth?
It's not really a myth. It's not really a myth. It might not damage to an extent that someone completely is losing their vision, but it has an extent of damage. It's what we call digital eye strain, because we are dealing with computers. We are dealing with our phones, we are dealing with our screen. So we call it digital eye strain. And one of the things which helps with the eyes, for example, bathing, your eyeball to be able to be comfortable, is the fact that you are blinking. It's a reflex, you don't have control, but you are blinking. But you find that with the digital eye strain, because of too much use of the computers and the phones, that blinking reflex, sometimes it's overrun, whereby someone is concentrating so much on the what? Someone is concentrating so much on the screens. And this, because it's your blinking reflex which helps you to bathe your eyes, with your tears such that they are lubricated, you find that it causes people to have that physical dry eye kind of symptoms where the eyes are not comfortable. But also another thing is that it can cause you to get headache, because many times we spend on it long hours. So the body, the eyes are giving feedback that we are not comfortable. We are not comfortable with this. So the digital eye strain is because of prolonged use of screens and computers. It might not have so much damage in terms of vision loss and what, but it causes a lot of digital eye strain and discomfort, from sore feeling in your eyes to a dry kind of feeling to headaches because of the eyes not being comfortable on the screens and the lights for a longer period of time. So maybe that's what I could speak about with the screen use, the digital eye strain, that is the impact it has really on the eyes.
All right, so doctor, we shall take a quick break. We shall return shortly. Thank you so much for staying with us, and welcome back from that break. You are watching NTV Medical Matters. We are supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I am Viola Kusasera, and this beautiful morning we have a doctor in studio, Dr. Lillian Awubwa from Mengo Hospital Eye Department, and we are talking about eye health. I hope that you're following her beautiful instructions on how to take care of our eyes, as well as if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us at NTV Uganda on social media, as well as when our phone lines open. So, Doctor, let's continue. And now I'm going to ask a question about what are the simple steps we can take in our daily life in order to keep our eyes healthy, be it food, be it how we sleep and all that.
The first step in eye care, there are a variety of things that we can do to keep our eyes healthy, to make sure that we can easily identify that our eyes are not comfortable and do something about it before it's too late. And one of the things we can talk about is the hygiene. And the hygiene of the eyes ranges all the way from the fact of being able to have clean water to wash your face and your eyes each day, to what you do with your eyes. For example, one of the things that we should avoid is touching our eyes, especially when we have not washed our hands, because we know that the hands is one of the vehicle that will transmit the germs from whichever surface you've touched into the eyes. So one of the things we can do is avoiding touching our eyes, especially with unclean hands which are not washed, because they transmit the infection into our eyes sometimes because they are not clean. The other thing that we can do about hygiene is the fact of being able to not share, for example, handkerchiefs and towels, especially facial towels, because we know that each one of us has different issues with our bodies, and one issue can lead to can be transmitted to another. Especially, for example, if there is an ongoing eye infection with one of the people in the home, and you're sharing maybe same towels, you can easily end up transmitting the germs. Also, you get the infection, because the infections, in most cases, they are contagious from one person to another. And then also, when it comes to the hygiene, once someone has they have been told they have an ongoing eye infection, it's very important to make sure that they do a lot of hand washing, especially when they're around people in the house, such that where you touch someone else at home, or the kids don't end up touching their eyes and transmitting the infection also to themselves. But also, once there is usually an ongoing infection, one of the things that we usually advise a lot is the fact that someone needs to use a disposable kind of soft tissue with the eyes, whereby you have that opportunity to wipe at once and you throw. Because each time you put back, for example, a handkerchief, you're touching it over and over again, you're putting it back in the eyes, rubbing with the same handkerchief the whole day, you find that you've just kept on reinfecting yourself, putting the same germ over and over. So even when there is an ongoing infection, it takes long to really heal. And also the fact that our hands touch managers, as I've said, they touch door handles where everyone is touching with clean and unclean hands. So if you're touching that handkerchief, you're wiping your eyes with the same, it's very easy to catch up an infection into the eyes. So with the hygiene, that can be a routine we can do. Just watch out our hand hygiene and prevent touching our eyes unnecessarily, especially with unclean hands. The other thing that we could really do is, like we have talked about when we started the conversation, is about the routine eye checkups. The routine eye check checkup, I've said we could do it twice every year. That is every 6 months or once a year, for those that do not have any eye concerns. But there are people that have other eye concerns. For example, they have chronic eye diseases like glaucoma, and I've talked about glaucoma being eye pressure disease. Their eye checkups range, they are highly individualized according to how the pressures of the eyes are doing, how the patient is doing. So for them, you do not need to wait for once a year or every 6 months. It's highly dependent on their disease and how the pressures are being monitored in the eyes. So you find that if you have, for example, someone, your guardian, or you have a parent you're taking care of, and always asking for the checkups in the hospital, we have had some of the caregivers telling their parents, what is this checkup which you always go after 2 months or after 1 month? Which kind of disease is this which doesn't cure? And you're hearing us talking about the routines being twice or once a year, and now you might go back and tell this mama that they told us it's once or twice a year. Please, it shouldn't be like that. It's the routine checkups are highly dependent on whatever condition a person has. There are those who tell 3 months because they are controlled. There are those who tell 2 months, depending. So it's highly dependent on the condition of the person, and that is for the routine checkup. And also the routine checkup are very important because in case of disease which are painless, when you go for that routine checkup once a year, it can be a time-saving bomb in terms of vision. Because, for example, I've told you that there are people that have come and we have broken the news that there is damage in their eyes and we can't reverse it. And if there are those who have come early because of another thing, and we have talked about it and have gone and read about it, and have come back to appreciate the fact that, oh, you mean I could go blind if I didn't come for that one-off checkup. So the routine checkup are very important to identify those that are painless but can blind, and be given intervention early enough. So that's one of the health thing which we need to really pick up as Ugandans and as people that need to keep our vision and our eyes right. The other thing that we can talk about is the early treatment. We talked about, we saw the gentleman who was talking about that people take long to put on specs because they are myths. They are myths given our culture. There are a lot of myths. People like this, for example, this child is too young to wear glasses. But we know that for children that have sincere and corrected refractive problems, eye strain problems, they are either short or long-sighted, or whatever, astigmatism, which is technical. But we know that if you do not correct it, the vision center is fully developed when a child is 8 years. Now, you don't choose to produce a child who is short-sighted or long-sighted because they need glasses. But once it is there, the only way you can help this child is being able to have an eye examination, a checkup. They know which power of glasses the child needs, and then they take you through what you should expect. And because of the culture, our culture, glasses, most people say they are meant to be for the elderly. But we know that diseases don't choose age. Some of the diseases don't choose which age they take.
To interrupt you a bit, now that you're talking about glasses, at what stage should someone get glasses? Because I also understand that there are people who feel a little discomfort and they run for glasses, maybe out of wanting to be stylish or something. So talk to us about what stage that should be.
So about glasses, glasses can be given in 2 ways. Number one, when there is a focusing problem, an eye strain, a problem in ordinary language, you could say, I do not see well. But there are those that might get glasses for comfort, especially when it comes to the digital world, where people are getting strains because of the too much light reflections. There are people who don't have focusing problems, what we call refractive errors, but they will come for glasses because they're so much disturbed with night driving because of the car reflections at night. And you find some of them don't have focusing problem, but we give for comfort of the eyes. But at what stage is what you asked. At what stage do you give glasses? The glasses are given at a stage where someone has had an eye checkup. They do your vision test. They do a full eye checkup for the eye as a structure. And then also the eye section, the eye is looks a small organ. But it has, in the eye department, when you come to Mengo Hospital, you realize we have the optometry department, which is the glasses department, and it has people that are specialized and trained to do a proper lens checkup for you. And where we call the low vision department, because most people out there, once they tell them, for example, there's a problem which happened on your nerve, it will never gain sight. Some people say, that one we let go of them, we cannot do something. But we are comprehensive with the eye department because we have even the low vision unit. You want to give hope, how can you rehabilitate this person to be able to live a relatively normal life, to be able to go, for example, to the toilet. Because some of those things are essential things, and it frustrates people when you have to tell them they won't be able to see that much, but maybe they have even 1 meter of vision. 1 meter of vision, this is someone who has ever gone to school, or they have never gone to school, but they want to read their Bible. We have that section which is low vision. There are magnifiers which are there. For those that have really lost their vision, there is what we call the white cane. They take you through how can this person navigate their homestead? How can they be able to navigate their homestead? So the eye looks small, getting back to our point, but when you come to the eye department, it has different sections, and all of them work together to be able to serve our clients, to restore hope, even when vision seems to be very less to the ordinary man's like language. But at some point, at what point do we get the glasses? It is at that point that someone has had a proper eye check and they have been able to be examined and they have got that lens need to be able to see well. Because you can't say that because you've had an eye checkup, they have measured, let me give glasses even when someone is not improving. So they are only at that point when we see that you can benefit from being able to see well with those glasses. It is at that point that we can dispense them to you.
And it's also, I just wanted to understand at what age do eyes naturally begin to decline, or should I say eyesight begin to decline? And at that stage, what can be done for, say, a grandfather or a grandmother?
When there is no specific age where the eyesight can begin to deteriorate. For example, I've given you an example that we have children that need glasses, okay, because they have been born with a focusing issue. And I've told you the Center for Seeing is fully developed by the time you're 8 years. So the trouble is that if you say the child is too young to give, what happens is that the Center for Seeing doesn't learn to see well, what we call a weak or lazy eye. In our medical term, we call it amblyopia. Now, these things might look so technical, but there are children who have ended up with glasses. Yes, they improve their vision, but not to the best like it would have been if this child was given glasses earlier than the age of 8. So it doesn't matter what age. What matters if the problem has been discovered and its intervention is that the glasses will help to restore vision and to maintain it, we give it. Now, leaving the point of refractive errors, especially with early childhood. At any point that you come to us and we are able to assess and find that you need these glasses, we will give them to you. If you do not need them, we will look for what is causing the issue with your vision and address it accordingly. But towards age 40 and above, we have a lens inside the eye. And that lens inside the eye is responsible to help focus the images which are picked from outside onto your retina. That is responsible to collect those messages to take through your nerve to the brain to see well. Now, that lens keeps moving according to where you're looking at. These are not movements like you feel, like you move your hand and feel it, but they happen within the eye. And it has bundles, or what we would call like muscles, which are holding it in place. So when you're looking far, there is a way they stretch for it to focus. When you're looking near, there is a way they, stretch out or come together to be able to focus very well, for someone to appreciate their vision. Now, what really happens is that towards that age 40 and above, there is something which you hear people talking about, that you find someone holding, for example, their phone from a distance. But we know that the ideal is about 30 centimeters reading distance. So you find they are holding here. And when it's at night, they need even more light to be able to see very well. Someone can even literally get a torch and torch. It's only those that are short-sighted, that take longer sometimes to get that condition we call presbyopia. But it comes with towards age 40 and above. Some people get early presbyopia. Some people it comes because they have other conditions which we diagnose along the way. That's why I've said that sometimes the eye looks a simple checkup, but you might end up somewhere else. For example, there are people who have come and they are younger than 40, and then they don't see well, and then you send them to the glasses section to do their vision test to see if they need glasses. And then along the way you find they have that prescription which shows that they need a reading glass, which is for relatively people age 40 and above. And one of the things sometimes we have done is the fact of doing a blood sugar check. Some people have been wondering, why all this process? There are patients who have asked us, why the blood sugar, why the blood pressure check before dispensing of glasses? It's because all these things have an effect they do on even how much power of lens that will be got on your checkup. So one of the things that we get, if we get you having, for example, a power that is a reading power inside your lens, one of the things that we do blood sugar checkup, and you'll be surprised. There are very, very many clients of ours that have discovered they are diabetic on an eye checkup, because you send them for the tests to see if glasses can help their vision, and they come with the reading part. And then if you miss it out when they came in to do it as a routine checkup, you do it. And when you do it, the sugars have skyrocketed. So it's actually, for us in the department, it's no surprise. It's a very common thing to find someone diabetic when they didn't know. So the eye checkup is not just for the eye, but many times it has saved some clients.
It's revealed so much.
It reveals so much which you didn't even imagine it would be there. So for age 40 and above, because that ability to stretch of what is holding your lens to be able to focus at different distances, the ability of those fibers to stretch, they become a little bit rigid, which is a natural age process. So you find that most of the people at above 40, you find at some point they're not comfortable with their what? With their reading, and you need reading glasses. But for the elderly, you don't just do only that check. Sorry about that. You don't only do the check for the elderly, because with age, very many things set in, like the cataracts we talked about later on, they set in with age. So for the age, you don't just say, Jaja is not saying, well, you get glasses. Why you need an eye checkup is to know that this Jaja might have cataracts when they need to wash out that lens to do a cataract surgery, to put another lens. But even after the cataract surgery, you know that Jaja will need some glasses. So for you to be able to appreciate that this Jaja will need this and that, it's for that checkup.
Okay, so as we wind up, I'm surprised our time has really run out, but as we close, Doctor, could you please clear some myths that you feel have been surrounding eye care quickly in a few minutes, and also any other last message you have of what we need to take away today? Have you had any myths throughout?
There are myths. They are really myths with the eyes, especially. One of the common myths is about glasses. Many of us out there think that glasses are only for the elderly, but when the need arises and you have a child who needs glasses, please, if you're not aware of what you really need, you can go to any eye center that is comprehensive, because someone might be out there watching NTV from Arua and is saying, this clinician Lillian is saying we have to go to Mengo Hospital to transport.
I know.
But there are very many hospitals even out there. If you choose and you prefer us, well and good, we'll serve you. But don't wait until it's too late. About the myth for glasses, come and have your child checked out at your nearest health unit, which has an eye section, such that you can know whether it's really needed or not. Number one. Another myth is about, for example, surgery. Many people, once they talk about touching the eye, many of them they use the Luganda word kukolokota. And for me, being in the eye health care system, that word is so rough, really rough as the word itself, because I know that it's fish when you're removing the scales that you scrape.
Oh yeah.
So it's not really scraping. It's a myth that people think they are going to another myth, which is that closely attached to that is the myth of they are going to remove my eye and put it on a tray. There is no one who can remove that eye and put it on a tray, truth be told, because God reserved his authority and his mightiness, that once it is to get out, when it gets out, the whole of it can't go back. So that myth of they are going to remove my eye, put it on a tray, they are going to put an eye of a sheep inside, those are just myths. When the eye is having surgery, number one, they make it numb when it's on your eye, such that you don't, when it's on your face, such that you don't feel any pain. And still, whatever is done on the eye when it's there. Okay? So we don't scrape the eye. If your Jaja needs cataract surgery, it's a myth. Come have them checked out and see what they can benefit from. So even the myth of surgery is so common with us. Very, very common. People fear eye surgery, but you need to just have the right information about what is taking your patient or your relative for this surgery, such that you allay the anxiety and that fear goes away. So I think that's the little that we can share when it comes to that. But the take home, she had asked me about the take home, which I had overtaken. In
5 seconds.
Take home is have a regular eye checkup with or without any eye concern. It's good for you to check out and see what's happening to your body. Thank you so much.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say, I check up, I check up, I check up. That's what we're taking away today. So thank you so much, Dr. Lillian. It's really been a pleasure having you today. And dear viewers, thank you so much for always catching NTV Medical Matters. We are supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it's really been nice having you here. I hope you learned so much from the doctor. And until next time, have a wonderful week.